trying to sway you cause I ain't got all the answers. I'm just trying to convey to you, I be taking some chances. If my shit don't pertain to you, you can check out your man shit. You ain't teach us a damn thing, you ain't give us the game. We was giving you signals, but you ain't give us a lane.
Hi, welcome to another episode of I Don't Have the Answers, but let's talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Tim, the Answer Man 4, and I want to thank you very much for joining me. Now, before we jump into this week's episode, I wanted to address a couple questions that I had. I was asked why I don't take a moment and talk a little bit about diversity and those types of issues that are going on in the United States right now. And I wanted to say that I'm not ready to. I have seen other people talk about racial and political issues in their podcasts, and I've seen them get crucified and cannibalized, and I may seem like I have a thick skin, but I don't think I'm ready for that. So, there may come a time that I will do an episode or a whole month-long segment on it, but it's not now. Stay tuned, though. It'll happen eventually, maybe, possibly. But for now, let's hop into another subject. And it was going to be a show about depression today. But due to the fact that I like to pull from current events and things that I see, this week's going to be kind of like a story about train wrecks. Not legitimate ones, but have you ever entered into a relationship or a circumstance knowing that you've been down this road before, you've started down this path before, sometimes with the same exact people along this trip, and it all ended up badly, but you're going to do it again because this time you think you can get them to change. This time will be better. Now, before we go any further, I wanted to make a big disclaimer. This is not about my son and his lovely girlfriend. This is definitely not. Totally different subject matter. I have a friend of mine, very close friend, who is getting ready to enter into something that I gotta say that I'm kind of worried for him. He went down this path before, and it hurt him. It crushed him bad. And he's getting ready to go down the same path again. And I worry that it's going to be the same thing. And he might not recover when this happens this time. I didn't say if, I said when. But why do we do this? Why do we do this to ourselves, to our friends, to our loved ones? Why do we put ourselves into these situations? I've done some research. I've read some things. Come to find out, we just want to be happy. And we look at the circumstances and we look at the situation and we think to ourselves, yeah, it's going to be disastrous at the end. There's a possibility that it's going to blow up in my face. But for that short, brief moment when it's not, for when it's that time that it's working right, it feels good. It makes us feel like the other things that are going on in our life, they're not there. So when we're asked, why are you doing this to yourself? Think back to that last relationship that you started in that first few weeks when everything was right, when there was rainbows and unicorns and everything was perfect. And all the hurt was gone. And all the drama was gone. Just for that little bit. That 1 ounce of joy made the tons of drama and disaster worth it. I'm not saying that this is the best course of action. I'm just trying to give meaning to those that have questioned their friends when they make these decisions. I'm trying to put a magnifying glass on the things that we ask ourselves all the time. Why did so-and-so do this? You know that she is not good enough. Or why is this going to happen? Why are you taking this job on? You've already worked for that company before and they did so many bad things to you. It's because that little bit of joy that we get in the beginning, or even if it lasts for a few months, a few years, it helps in that moment. So we can't judge them. We can offer our assistance, we can offer our kindness, we can offer our heart to them. We can offer our suggestions at all times. But it's not for us to make those decisions for them. Maybe we are there at the end to help pick up the pieces. Maybe we can make some observations along the way. Try to be tactful. Again, I'm going to say this again, and there's probably going to be flashing signs on the screen. Try to be tactful. But for that person who's currently going through whatever, they're feeling euphoria like you've probably experienced yourself. It's not the time to try and tell them and remind them of the pit of despair that they were in last time this happened. They're not going to hear it. So you have a choice. You can either scream it from the mountaintops and try your best to get them out of this situation now, in which case you will be labeled as the mean friend who didn't want to help them and didn't want them to have a chance at happiness. Or you can be their friend, offer suggestions, and be there to put them back together at the end. I choose to be there at the end. I mean, it hurts me knowing or thinking or even guessing that my friend's going to be hurt in a couple months or a year. But I have their back, and I support them, and I will be there regardless. I want you to do the same. I want you to go when you see a family member about to make a bad decision, because we all have those family members that make those bad decisions. The get rich quick schemes, no, I'm going to quit my job now, I don't like it. What? No, why would I have another job lined up? Yeah, we've all got those friends and family members that make those decisions with the wrong kind of support behind them, then the wrong ideas on the outcome. Don't be the voice that tells them, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, without any actual proof or any reasoning. Support them, be tactful, and help them put the pieces back together later. They're not going to listen to you now anyway. But of course, as you well know, I could be wrong. I don't have all the answers. Thank you very much for joining me this week. Hope you have a wonderful evening.
The boy is off Broadway. We're watching.